Some people spend $500 on their wedding. Some spend $5,000. And then there are the people on this list who spent millions. We're talking about flower bills bigger than most people's houses, engagement rings that cost more than private jets, dresses made with crystals flown in from Europe. But here's what nobody talks about. Some of these fairy tales ended in heartbreak, some ended in court, and one ended in tragedy that shocked the world. What matters isn't just how much they spent. It's what happened after the party ended, the marriages that lasted, the divorces that destroyed lives, the bankruptcies that followed. Stay until number 1, because the final story reveals something powerful about love, money, and the systems that crush people who deserve better. This isn't just about weddings. It's about what happens when we think spending more money means loving more deeply. Number 10, Alicia Keys. The invitations to her wedding cost $1,000 each and only 50 guests attended. On July 31st, 2010, Alicia Keys sailed to Corsica in France and got married on the beach. Among the attendees were Bono and Queen Latifah, and Deepak Chopra led the ceremony. Alicia wore a custom Vera Wang dress made from ivory silk over 4 months, while her husband, Swizz Beatz, wore an ivory tuxedo from Tom Ford. At the time, Alicia was pregnant, walking down the beach with her future child growing inside her. The wedding invitations, crystal-covered mirror booklets, meant that at $1,000 each, 50 invitations added up to $50,000 spent just on the paper. The total wedding cost was $1.7 million. By 2025, Alicia and Swizz were still together, considered one of music's strongest couples. What made their marriage last? They didn't need 500 guests, they needed 50 people who truly loved them. The size of the guest list doesn't matter. The quality of the people does. That intimacy combined with celebration created something real. Number 9, LeBron James. When Beyoncé flew across the world to sing one song, it became clear just how unforgettable his wedding would be. On September 14, 2013, LeBron James married his high school sweetheart, Savannah Bryson, at a luxury resort in San Diego. The celebration lasted 3 days, with 200 guests flying in from across the country. Security was so tight that news helicopters couldn't get close. To top it off, Beyoncé and Jay Z flew from Brazil to California just to perform one song at LeBron's wedding, crossing an entire continent for just 15 minutes. They performed Crazy in Love with a full band as the sun set over the Pacific Ocean. Altogether, the 3-day celebration cost $4 million. By 2025, LeBron and Savannah remained one of sport's most solid couples. What made their wedding powerful wasn't the money, it was the people who loved them enough to change their plans and fly across the world. Beyoncé doesn't perform at most weddings, but she performed at LeBron's, proving that something real existed beneath all the flowers and fancy venues. Number 8, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle union, $5 million and still standing. On August 30th, 2014, NBA champion Dwayne Wade married actress Gabrielle Union in Miami. The entire venue was covered in white flowers imported from Ecuador. Thousands of white roses, lilies, and orchids turned the space into a dream. Gabrielle's engagement ring was an 8.5 carat custom diamond worth nearly $1 million, and her wedding dress was custom made with hand-sewn beading that took 6 months to complete. The celebration cost $5 million, with live musicians performing until sunrise. By 2025, they were still married. In a list full of divorces, Wade and Union stood out as rare, a couple who spent a lot of money and stayed together. So, what separated them from the failures? Wade and Union didn't just spend money on one party, they built something real underneath. They talked about their relationship publicly and worked on communication, making their marriage an active choice. Just a one-day event. Spending a lot of money doesn't destroy marriages, but spending money without intention does. Number 7. Serena Williams. 3 dresses, a golden ballroom, and $5 million of pure celebration. On November 16, 2017, Serena Williams turned her wedding into a Broadway show. The venue in New Orleans was transformed into a Beauty and the Beast ballroom with golden flower arches stretching 20 feet high. Tables bore the names of her Grand Slam victories. That night, Serena wore 3 custom gowns. The first, an Alexander McQueen ball gown with a dramatic cape valued at $2.6 million. The second, a Versace gown covered in Swarovski crystals. Celebrating with her were Beyoncé, Kim Kardashian, Kelly Rowland, and Eva Longoria. In total, the celebration cost reached $5 million. By 2026, Serena and Alexis Ohanian remained married. Consider the contrast. Beyoncé's $15 million wedding stayed hidden, while Serena's $5 million wedding was celebrated publicly. Both were expensive, but only one was visible. Serena understood something powerful. She made her wedding part of her story, part of her legacy. The celebration wasn't about showing off. It was about creating a moment people would remember forever. Number 6. Eddie Murphy. The Grand Ballroom was held for 13 years. On March 18, 1993, Eddie Murphy threw a wedding fit for a Hollywood king at the Plaza Hotel in New York. Inside the Grand Ballroom, over 500 guests attended. Nicole Mitchell wore a dress with a 12-foot train covered in Austrian pearls and Swarovski crystals, considered one of the most elaborate wedding dresses of the entire decade. The total celebration cost $1.5 million. For 13 years and 5 children, the marriage held as they built a family and created memories. In 2006, they divorced. The 500 guests, the crystal gown, the grand ballroom, none of it kept them together forever. Still, 13 years is longer than most marriages on this list. They loved, they built, they tried. That counts for something. Number 5. Ciara and Russell Wilson, the medieval castle where the fairy tale crumbled. On July 6, 2016, Ciara and NFL champion Russell Wilson flew to England and got married at Peckforton Castle, a 200-year-old medieval fortress surrounded by 1,000 acres of forest. Ciara's custom Roberto Cavalli gown had hand-embroidered lace sleeves worked on by Italian craftsmen for 3 months. Russell wore Giorgio Armani. Earth, Wind, and Fire performed live for 3 hours. Kelly Rowland, Jennifer Hudson, and Usher were there. The engagement ring was 16 carats, one of the largest rings in celebrity history. The total wedding cost was $1.5 million. It looked like a fairy tale. In June 2025, Ciara filed for divorce. 9 years after the castle wedding, the fairy tale ended. The ring, the venue, the dress, none of it is guaranteed forever. This is what happens when we confuse pretty celebrations with real security. Money can rent a castle, but it can't build a marriage that lasts. The castle was real. The marriage wasn't strong enough. Number 4, Mary J. Blige. The $1 million wedding that cost her $420,000 every single year after. On December 7, 2003, Mary J. Blige married Kendu in a huge ceremony in New York. The wedding cost $1 million. It felt like victory. Mary had fought through pain, through struggle, through hard years. The wedding felt like the beginning of something beautiful. She wore a custom dress that took months to create. The celebration was everything she dreamed of. 13 years later, the marriage ended. Mary filed for divorce. But here's where the real cost showed up. Mary had to pay Kendu $420,000 every single year in spousal support. That means in just 2.5 years after the divorce, she paid more than the wedding itself ever cost. And the payments kept coming year after year. This is the hidden cost of love that nobody warns you about. not the flowers, not the venue, but what happens when the love ends and the legal system takes over? The most expensive part of Mary's wedding wasn't the celebration. It was what the court made her pay after everything fell apart. For years, she kept paying for a marriage that had already died. Number 3, Whitney Houston. 8,000 roses and a heartbreak the world still feels. On July 18, 1992, the greatest voice in music history married Bobby Brown at her private estate in New Jersey. The garden was decorated with 8,000 roses, white, pink, and cream-colored, all flown in fresh from Holland. The reception tent was draped in purple fabric filled with 15,000 orchids. The flowers alone cost over $500,000. Whitney wore a $40,000 custom gown with a beaded hat and a silk veil that trailed 15 feet behind her. Bobby's groomsmen wore purple tuxedos with matching purple alligator shoes made in Italy. Each pair of shoes cost $3,000. The total wedding cost over $1 million. Gladys Knight was there. Gloria Estefan was there. It was beautiful. It was hopeful. It looked like the beginning of forever. By 2007, they were divorced. And on February 11, 2012, Whitney Houston died. The 8,000 roses, the 15,000 orchids, the $40,000 dress, none of it could protect what came next. The addiction, the pain, the systems that crush talented people. Whitney's wedding was real. Her love was real. Her talent was immortal. But her struggle was bigger than any celebration could fix. This is the hardest truth. Sometimes love and money can't save us from the demons we fight inside. The world lost Whitney, and we're still mourning. Number 2, Toni Braxton, hope trapped between 2 bankruptcies. On April 21, 2001, Toni Braxton married Keri in Atlanta. The ceremony was elegant. The dress was stunning. The celebration cost $1 million, but here's what most people don't know. Toni had filed for bankruptcy just 3 years earlier in 1998. Why? Because her record label had paid her only 33 cents for every album she sold. Even though her music made $170 million in sales, she barely saw any of it. The industry had already taken her money before she ever walked down the aisle. She was trying to rebuild, trying to start fresh. The wedding was her symbol of hope. Then in 2010, Toni filed for bankruptcy again. This time, while she was still married. The bills kept piling, the systems kept crushing her. And in 2013, after 12 years together, she and Keri divorced. Toni's wedding happened between 2 bankruptcies. The love was real, the hope was real. But the systems that had stolen her wealth before the wedding were still working against her after. She celebrated while drowning in debt she didn't deserve. The dress, the flowers, the ceremony, none of it could fix what was already broken underneath. This is what people don't understand about expensive black celebrity weddings. They often happen while financial destruction is already happening behind the scenes. The party is real, but the pain is hidden. The industry takes everything and leaves people with nothing but the memory of one beautiful day. Number 1, Beyoncé and Jay Z, the $15 million wedding nobody has ever seen. On April 4, 2008, Beyoncé and Jay Z got married. That's all most people know, because everything else has been hidden for 17 years. Jay Z's Manhattan penthouse was turned into something out of a dream. $1 million worth of white orchids were flown in from Thailand just to fill the rooms. The scent was so strong that guests said it felt like walking into another world. Only 40 people were invited. Not 400, not 200, 40. Every guest signed a legal document promising never to talk about it. Every guest had to give up their phone at the door. No cameras, no exceptions, not a single one. The engagement ring Beyoncé wore that day was an 18-karat emerald-cut diamond worth $5 million. Here's what these 10 weddings teach us. You can spend $1 million and still end up divorced. You can invite Beyoncé to perform and still file for bankruptcy. You can hide your wedding and build something that lasts, or share it and watch it fall apart. The cost of the wedding doesn't predict the future, but the systems around it do. The record label contracts that steal money, the legal systems that force people to pay forever, the industries that take everything and leave people broke. These things shape what happens after the celebration ends. The weddings were real, the love was real, but love alone can't fight a system designed to crush you. So which wedding surprised you the most? Was it the one that cost the most? The one that lasted the longest? Or the one that revealed the truth about how fame and money can destroy even the strongest people? Drop your answer in the comments. If this story made you see love and money differently, hit subscribe. See you next time.